موسى كل شيء لا ينوراني الله نور لا يا حاتم الأنبياء يا شهيدا المرسلين يا مصطفى كل شيء يا شهيدا الله نور سالي يا حاتم الأنبياء يا شهيدا المرسلين
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اليوم 24 من 6447 هجري والموافق يوم الاثنين. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. It is a prosperous يوم الاثنين. It is the 24th of the 6th 1447. It is a Yawm al-Ithnain, it is a moon day in our cycles, and it is a fasting day in our lifestyle modulations. Inshallah, tabarakallah. We are coming to the close of the 6th month, the middle month, and we're entering into the Rajabiyya, al-Murajjab. Inshallah, tabarakallah. Tonight, with Allah's Qudrat, we hope you are having a beautiful fasting experience as we are going faster into this illumination of expansion in consciousness. As we had previously reminded each other, فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. The age of forgetfulness, of heedlessness, of unconsciousness, of synthetic simulations and Hollywood curriculums. Okay? The Knight Rider and the Michael Knight and the Kid, the Dallas and the JR and the Sir Ellens, the Page. Okay. That has occupied our memory cells since we were at very infant stages of our exposure, okay, which caused much contamination in the membranes and in the blood cells that stores your memory. Okay. Everything about the human, that you know yourself, you know your mother, you know your father, you know your children. In this age, in this dawn, يوم نطوي السماء كطي السجل للكتب كما بدأناكم أول خلق نعيد وعدا علينا إنا كنا فاعلين. For us as soul tribes that understands the Quran, the opposite light that you as humanity understands the book. Okay. What we have learned about ourselves, what we have learned about history, what we've learned about human biology, human psychology, it is the very opposite of what the truth is. Allah, the truth is not in our control. Okay. Truth is the controlling force of truth is Allah. Allah alone. Wal haqq. Al haqqul mubin. And when your truth was dismantled and it was contaminated and it was compromised in 2020, 1441. Okay, must understand, please, we are doing this for the soul children and for those who has reached puberty in their conscious levels at the time that they had to wake up to answer the adhan. Okay, what you must understand, people, what is coming is all only happening inside of us, not outside. Nothing has ever happened on the external. It's us that went and seeked and went and poked our noses into that where some of our noses cannot be released. Okay. That air, that oxygen that you and I were scientifically given to understand who you are is darkness that you and I are residing in today. Darkness means it is ignorance, it is festered with doubt, guilt, and fear. Tonight, with Allah's Qudrat, inshallah, we will expound on what happened to our mothers, our fathers, and our children, and our colleagues, in how we as the final ummah of a revelation to have claimed prophecy, okay, has been manipulated, exposed, and become the greatest judges over the world other than Allah. We are in the Quran in today's terms, we are the Yahud. In the words of Allah, in the words of Allah, we are the Yahud. Many of you have never ever understood this Quran, whoever you might be. Okay. Your knowledge has been external because of failing to enter into the primordial waters of consciousness. If you are unconscious, you are dead. If you are undernourished and if you are contaminated, you are exposed to danger, my friend. great danger. When the heavens, when the Khaliq, when the Khalaq creates a an experience for yourself and myself, it is also always done with caution, and you have to apply the manual in the entire journey. Okay? You don't have to become holy than thou. You have to remain organic. You have to try and stick to your mother nature to remain in the center. Okay? That is where there will be no genocides. There will be no right or wrong. There will only be a center where you don't have to be pulled into a war on the external. Now, as we as a planet on Earth today, okay, we have gone through a major purge in terms of our psychology, of what we thought was a prophet that died and came and we missed the boat. Okay, you and I are what the Quran refers to as Ashab al-Tubba. We were blind following, and we knew we were making sins, but we did not know that we were paying for our own sins because of how our psychology was hijacked. This is secretly due to the fact that we did not understand what was the dhikr, who are we? Where did we come from? Where do we reside in the higher dimensions of our conscious being selves? Okay. Who gave us this unique opportunity to experience a dynamic venture into the depth of our minds? Okay. Your brains is not your mind. Your brains only landscapes your mindscape. Okay. Now, in this age, in where we are in the primordial waters of the split of truth, that's the split of the Red Sea. Okay. That's the coming of the intervention of the prophecy of what you and I understand as a man that has died called Muhammad. Now, most of us has only been following his words, and we have no idea what is Allah's words. We are very limited on what Allah is speaking. So obviously we are following our own hawa. We have made books more sacred than the Quran, and we have exclusively taken possession of it as a final race that came to hold the light, the baton. Okay, look, people, you must understand. Earth, the dunya, is a it's an experience, but it's not where you lose your heart. Okay, it's where you remain connected to the motherboard, to the mother earth, to the mother nature, and that is how you will understand that what time it is in your journey. Okay. Now, as parents today, all of us, there was an opportunity, and there will always be, inshallah ta'ala, opportunities. But as a matter of a collective migration of an old, dilapidated reality that we prostituted, for maybe 250 years of a psychology. Yeah? Now, as you received your understanding and your identity and my identity, in that lucky box came a lot of things that was GMOs. Okay? GMOs in the sense that it was not created in heaven, it was created out of thin air. And that until today, you cannot decipher, you cannot decode the puzzle, and that is where you are still questioning whether there is a God. Look, we know what we're speaking about because we know that because the last age was self-destroyed because of their shirk, of us engaging in multiple partnerships, okay, having many gods other than the only God. Okay, the only God only resides in conscious. The other gods resides in the Jahannam, in the hell, in the dunya, in your low and my low level of perception and intelligence. Okay, our unawakened state. Now, we have to come to terms as our own selves today that there is a miqat in our presence here, people. There's a wave incoming for those who understand, those who are conscious people, conscious notes, those who has migrated into the unknown of what you know, okay, and I know. Those who can establish what is their authentic roots, seeds, family, okay, from above, not from below. Everybody dies, and you never see the people that is physically with you in this realm because of the amount of dogma and darkness and density that's gone into your and my processor, okay. It has violated your motherboard of focusing on where and exactly who you are, okay. The data that you're holding is manipulated synthetic data of your journey 100%. 100%. Okay. We are mostly lost. Most of us are lost in darkness because of the fear. The fear came out of what you and I inculcated into our genealogy, into our membranes, into our brains. We can't escape that that masakin. We cannot exit that that lie anymore. That illusion, it's just become too real to deny its legality and its reality and physicality. But because you and I are stuck into that levels of a what is a hell experience at this moment in your lives and in our lives. Okay? Muhammad in your lives is a prophet that is dead. Okay? And you are propagating that to your living innocent children. Okay? No saint human being does that. No saint human being does that to their incoming generations when they know that their children knows Muhammad before me and you know Muhammad today. They know the level of our perception and how we have degraded our operational systems, okay? Our senses, our nervous systems, our body, our biology. Okay? They will not, let me say to people, the children, the innocent children that is now incoming, they will not accept anything of our beliefs as the last generation. This is exactly according to the Quran. Due to us having compromised the truth and ourselves and having clustered in so many shirk attributes and compromised two gods to be one. Okay? We thought we can run the balance between Jannah and Jahannam and strike a balance people by introducing a religion. Okay? Whatever today you know about religion was politically manipulated by the Abbasiyya until it went into the Dawla Uthmaniyya. Even in the Ottomans, it's a very, very concocted version of your scrolls. Okay. So in the past, let's say 30 years since 1994, there's been a new mechanism in orbit to cleanse the last survivors of that ethnic evolution where they lost their sovereign identities and knowledge and revelations, okay, where they could not enter into their inner selves, okay, because of fear out of something that doesn't exist. Hell doesn't exist, only into your minds. Okay. You're supposed to be in heaven if you believe that God made a superior product and not an inferior product. But you believe the opposite way because of the darkness that held us hostage. What the exercise was here is that we were supposed to understand our angelic powers and knowledge if we would remember our nature, our natural abilities, our natural senses, our natural motherly, our motherly planet, our mother planets, okay? And most importantly, people, is what was downloaded onto our hearts drives. Okay. A computer, a telephone, a laptop, it's all created from the technology that exists, how your operational system works internally. Okay, it's a small percentage of how vast the world that you supposed to believe in, that is internal and always has been internal, until the door is now going to close and you can never ever come back into that reality. Okay. You are living in that times now. Okay. The prophecy, the seal of prophecies is when the door comes to close, when the hole goes up, okay? When that age where you have and I have wandered too deep into the forest, okay? Trying to find something which we would never own, okay? Sustaining a God which you and I would never see. Okay? And then finally topping it up by dividing and ruling your powers. Okay? So exchanging your sovereign powers and currency that Allah alone has the right to retrieve it. Okay? But because of the sacred covenant of choice, okay, and the education that you had picked up along the line and along the way in the forest, and the fictional fiat currency people, you have to come to terms why we have to bring a digital currency now. It's because the illusion of the paper money is now, for the new generation, It was the greatest lie of a promise. Okay, nobody fulfills their promise. We just create illusions and make the next generation come in pay for the debts that their previous parents and generations had accumulated in earth. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ هُمَزَةٍ لُمَزَةٍ. By now, the information age, okay, is accessible to one and all. You and I are all under surveillance. Everything that you are going to be doing from this moment onwards on the 24th of the 6th, 1447, you cannot hide it anymore. You have cameras in your house. You have cameras on your road. You have cameras in your hands. You yourself have, in a digital form, placed you into the deepest technology and sight that you would not easily escape. Okay, you built yourself into that prison. Okay, you forsake your sovereign, divine senses of freedom, of liberation, by putting everything that you ever know onto a surveillance platform. You don't know this is in the Quran. This is the Ahlul Raqi. You just didn't follow your scrolls and read your books as to how you locked yourself up. And I locked up myself and caused this blockchain where we are now following, and we have very little choice to exit from that, because we are fully committed, we are fully indebted, we are fully accredited into that kind of simulation. It is only a dream in your reality. It's not real. Please don't get yourself carried away, because we all are entering into the split here of conscious. It's just conscious. Those who are dead is unconscious, because they don't know where home is. They cannot relate to nature. They are the enemies of nature. They've fallen in love with things which they believe is their own. Okay? And your stay on earth, on this dimension, had an expiry date on it. It is now expired. It's no longer the truth. You are now entering into the age where you would be considered by yourself as a denier of the truth that has been upgraded. It's a new truth incoming, a new order from the heavens, from the universe, from the psychology. Okay, this is what we call Qiyamah. This is Qiyamah. Qiyamah is not when you are dead, it's when you are alive. If you were supposed to be alive, you would have known it's Qiyamah. Because it's all inside. Where are you going to be when you're dead? Outside? The body has no relevance with the journey, people. We got carried away with the outer surface areas. Okay, يَعْلَمُونَ ظَاهِرًا مِنَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ عَنِ الْآخِرَةِ غَافِلُونَ. So 99% of what you understand of the journey has been scripted by the adversary. Okay. They burned down Hollywood. They put on their white caps already. They are the 33-degree masonries. It's the game of the age, man. It's the game of the age. And as Muslims today, so-called, whatever we want to call ourselves, Sunnis, Shias, Qadianis, Ahmadis, whatever the case might be, it's all branding that has taken place, because it's economic hubs built on riba, as you all know. Okay, it's the illusion, and knowing that you can't own anything, you've never owned anything. It was just a fabricated simulation that you and I spelled. We're speaking truth. Don't look at it for the sense of blaming me or blaming you or I looking down. I don't know who I'm speaking to. And you don't have to accept anything that I say, but I'm knowing that I have to do this deposit so that the wall's last brick can be completed. Okay. Remember who comes in and puts the last brick into the wall. Okay. In this earth, there's secrets, people. يسرون ويعلنون. We don't speak. We do the work, but you don't see the work being done because you're not there where the work is being done. For the precise reason of what Allah says, وَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Okay. These tales would be exchanged with your next grandchildren's evolution. Okay. And they will come to realize that they will never be what we were. They will never lose the heart of the mother. They will never lose the centerpiece of their existence. And they will never forsake Mother Nature, synthetic, fabricated content. Okay. The only reason why you are entertained with a Marut and Ma'juj, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, your two brains, the TikTok, social media, activities that has clouded our membrane cells, we attracted it, you see. With everything that went into that, our genetics attracts the things because it lives inside of us. That's why we activate it so we can see it, because it's all prescripted in our journey. Ya imma shakiran wa imma kafura. Okay. But because of ego, that messed us up. Okay. You can't change anyone in this earth. You can't. Everyone is playing a role on the stage of life here. Okay. You're not having any enemies. You are your own enemy. Okay. Because of violating your divine sovereign space and rights. Right? Many of your mothers and fathers today have no idea where gender is. They believe in something which is synthetic because of what happened to them as a species, as a human species. Okay? The Americans, the Arabs, the Europeans, it's all spells in your content. That's why they call it continents. Okay? The soul tribe understands the journey in earth and beyond because they don't live externally, they live internally, because we all live in a body, people. We live in a set of universal laws that governs our destiny. Okay. So if you are foreign to your nature, you will not be synchronizing with the universal laws of Allah, which is the Sunnah. And there is no past, guys. You didn't lose out. You were just put in a spell. Okay. And that was what your next generation considers as the Jahannam, the unawakened phase of the journey. Okay. You have to pass through that occurrence because it was in our scriptures, it was in our timeline, but we come in order to repair and restore and to align the next children that were not the contaminated children of the past species that became the aliens of their planets. Okay. Nothing what we learned about the sciences needs to be verified internally at this moment in time, because there are new sciences going to be given to that new generations that has no factual relevance with what you thought. You came from a api and from a boom and van die berg. that children know Allah better than we. Really, they know Jannah and they know that we are currently in Jannah because we couldn't escape the brass people. It was the demolition that came in 2020. It was a vindication. We are the Qawmi Tubba and we are the people of Ad. We went back. We couldn't go forward. It's better that you hear the truth, people, because you're all going to have to go. You all have to go through the YouTube now. You can't escape. There's no death. When you die, you just die in your level of perception, and then you have to come back and try and reconcile. But if you deny it, then you go into a deeper spell. That's why you all are in an economic depression. The depression of the 1929s, it wasn't outside, it's inside of us because we were going through this metamorphosis and we were caught up in the simulation and we were going perpetually into this rabbit holes and hamster wheels. Okay, we've been here many times. You've been here many times. That's why for you and I, it's as if we're going back again into another year, but it's not. It's just in your mind. It's just numbers playing in your mind, but in your conscious, you can't work on something which was humanly created. It's just like patterns. You gotta decode it and come out of that captures. Okay. So, mashallah, tabarakallah, the fear, people, the fear is what kept you out of yourselves. Okay. And the fear is due to the violation that was caused when you consumed that which you don't know. Okay. Things that you cannot see in your presence, what goes into you as to where it is made, that planted the doubt. Okay. That's where your doubt and that's where your fragmentation and my fragmentation took place because we were occupied by foreign forces, foreign content. Okay, we were contained into that virtual space, right? Over and above that is that the curriculums where they made you and I into qualified slaves, okay, in how we have to find something which has no value, but they hold the fluctuation. Okay. Now, what is important for you to understand here at this moment in our lives is that those who are believers are not those who are Muslims. Those who are Yahud are not those who are Nasara, as what you had thought. Okay. The truth of the matter here is, people, that we have been played. Okay. And if you can decode your trap, okay, if you can become honest and go inside, gaan in die huis, gaan klop vir mami wakker, okay, gaan klop die mense wat jy geken het altyd, that is in your conscious breeds and breaths. Okay, if you can get the attention at this 11th hour that you are now currently awaiting the Rajab, okay, and ask truly, and ask for reconciliation, okay, truth and reconciliations, okay, with yourself. This only happens inside of you guys. That will bring you closer to being able to bite the bullet for what is anticipated. Okay. The Quran is clear about these things, people. Everything is getting more clearer because the more we're reading the Quran now, scrolls, the more we're going in and in and in and we're checking, oh yeah, Not that there is fear, but there is um, uncertainty. Uncertainty in the light that, yani, have I done enough to be given this elevation and enter into um, this new and uh, this new balancing and this new frequency of light, of truth. Okay, I've studied. I don't exist any longer, but yani, my life, my experience in life, very little human beings can ever claim such experiences. Okay, and if from wherever they come, because each one has the unique experience. And mashallah, tabarakallah, what presidents cannot do, alhamdulillah, Allah granted me that experience. Money, yani, it never ever yani, persuaded me. Yani, be it millions, it's not permanent, people. Come on. You have to find your authenticity and you have to preserve your authenticity because that's your passport throughout the journeys. Okay. So, mashallah, tabarakallah, yani. You know, I must give acknowledgement as I always go when I end of the sessions is that you and I must come to terms with the fact that you and I come from one of the most, Wallahi, they are one of the most intelligent soul seeds that was planted in earth. Okay. And they are one of the very first nations of earth. Okay. And how they modeled us in this game of life that we could still catch the ball. You know, as hy raga game speel en die ouens hallop so de mekaar en as hy een oudjie wat hallop wat almal defend vir hom sodat if he comes to the other side and they throw the ball then he catches it. Now your tribe had set up that for you people. I'm telling the honest experience because look, clearly most of us are caught up in Jahannam. We're still waiting to die whilst death is an illusion because of fear, the heedlessness, the sunken truths, the stagnation, and all these things. We're all in that boat, guys. We're just making Allah alive by speaking the truth at this moment when we know this boat is open. Truth, the collapse is here. We are just, the heavens is just being fragile to let and expose our conditions every moment faster and faster and faster. So whatever we are now navigating in, it's primordial waters that we are in. You are going into the age of the Yawmuddin, guys. Yawmuddin is where everything that you are fested and contaminated in will now come in front of your face. You will know who you are in the levels of and the capacity of what you're holding in the ranks of where you are in a reality. Okay, that's the truth. Nobody dies, guys. You are just given assortments all the time as ages passes, as seasons crosses. You're all the time going either deeper or you're going into a more peaceful space. Okay, a more conscious a medium of exchange. Right. So until today, none of you have told your children this. None of us has told our children this. This is a great indictment because we've sent them to the wrong gods, man. We've sent them to become idolaters in this adventure. And there's no way we want to tell them the truth because otherwise we're going to blow our cover. So, subhanallah, subhanallah. We thank our great ancestors, ons pa's, ons ma's, guys. The authentic people, those people that didn't do things to expect something in return. Those people that eyes didn't grow too big and wanted to accumulate something that is now going to evaporate people. Jou geld gaan jou nie help people. Wallahi. As alles under surveillance now. You're going to be given your accounts, your reports, and subject to the level of your density, would you be able to now eat what you should be eating? Okay? That will be under surveillance, people. Julle gaan nie meer geld hê nie, man. Understand what I'm saying? You can't go to anybody. You can't give your child. You can't give your mother. It's out of your hands, this thing. It's qiyam. That's what qiyam was all the time. You yourself put yourself into that condition unknowingly. Now, those who have left already and is now in the next dimensions already, they retained their sovereign rights, man. They found their Jannah, in other words. Whilst you and I are going to be retained into the levels where we can own nothing, guys. Qasam billahi Quran. The truth, it's the age of the truth. It's haq, as haqi, as buta haqi sitting. Okay? It's all going to play up in your psychology here. That's how it plays out in your nature. Okay? The movie is playing inside of us, not outside of us. The accountability is going to be inside of us. The surveillance are inside of us. What you are hearing outside about, you can't go, they're going to cut your cash. You were not supposed to have had cash in the first place in this age, in this metamorphosis. There was any banksters and gangsters that preyed on your sovereign wealth, okay, and exchanged your sovereignty for a world-dominated currency. And that is how the Arabs and the Washington laundry scheme washed and laundered your belief systems and oiled you into a ultra nur. That astron, just look at the word astron, purple and orange. You can't see it. As human beings, you are unaware where the real power station is, so you can't know why they have as astron written agterste voor is Nur Tara. You don't understand because Allah only understands sound. You only understand a word, but you don't know why they did it while you were still asleep and put the purple and the orange in your face. All of them, all the major power stations had to do this with the efficient help of your governments around the world. Okay, look, they gave God the undertaking that they can play with you and take you for as deep as they can, and Allah gave them the right because you didn't pick up the signs along the road. Okay? Luckily, some of your children was rescued by your fathers and your mothers, but they didn't accept you. They did not accept you because you forsook your own and would want your own to actually be where you are. The heavens didn't accept. The Mother Earth didn't accept. The crime that we had been brought forward in this age, in this qiyam year, is how we killed the mother, how we exchanged the mother's order, the mother's discipline, the mother's nature, the mother's fragility. The most powerful, most sacred thing that any God can create, we went and mesmerized as a population. We killed ourselves in this process, people. It's not sad, it's truth we must come up to. Julle bly says conspiracies and say praat vir ons bang. I don't speak to anybody. Nobody tells me praat vir hulle. I'm just putting in my mind this. Because I don't engage on that level because I know where I am and I don't grade other people. But as to where I come from, I know what the condition is. And certainly, we had to ask Allah to give us the the ticket to find a calm and a collective place for where our great mothers and sisters, children are going to be received in that new Bait, okay? The Baitul Nur, the illuminated house, not outside. People, if you're going to live forever in Allah's house, is that going to be a physical house? So, what are you doing in a physical house when you all the time have to be in your house? Okay. So, the mindset, yani, most of us has failed to read the Quran. We failed miserably to understand who we were. When was the Prophet? The Prophet must still come. That's why we're still holding Mawlud. Not because he's dead. It's because that you are elevating to come to that rank where that shirk and that idolatry yani, will be cleared by you reaching the stage of Muhammad. That age, that psychology, that level of nature, that alignment to divine sovereign space. That's it. We know it because we know where we are. Okay? Not that we want to administer or become leaders because there's no leaders in that space. Each one is equal. Each one knows themselves and knows their space and understand what are the universal laws that governs your Jannah and what is your rightful currency and how you can never forsake it or exchange it. Now that is kama yani wa'dan alayna inna kunna fa'ilin. Okay. This is where we have to clean our slate, clean our hand, and say, Ya Rabbi, we've done, wallahi, wallahi, Allah is our witness. We went all over. We went into the Makkah, into the Haram. We did what we could to save the children. Wallahi, we did. Allah is our witness. We had put it onto the classified. Okay, we've written the narrative, the new narrative. We've module the perception of how we had believed in the historic Quran and now how our next generations is going to believe in a prophet that is still supposed to come when you are able to upgrade and those children will now activate the Muhammad programming, the Moses programming. But they will have to go through that same metamorphosis, but this time in a pure form. They coming into the golden age, the Muhammad age, because they come in pure, like what we are in our own way, to try and module a lifestyle for them that was not as contaminated as what the previous parents had forged in a experience. Okay, this is how Allah puts it. This is how it has to be done, and we have no say in it. We just read our scrolls. Anyway, it's almost Maghrib. It's almost time for inches of so. But people know by now today that we are ashab tubba. We are the people that have followed and created gods that followed human beings, followed predicanta, followed rabbis, followed all sorts of things, believing that they are going to help us, but we didn't realize that everything was being recorded from within, and all that we needed to understand and get access to was to come in the house, inside, where Allah is, not outside. This is ينقلب على عقبيه فارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب على عقبيه. Okay? وهو Surah Al-Mulk. Okay? It's time. This is the age where you, the previous age you went out, this is the age you come in. ارجعوا فارجعوا البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر وهو خسير. Okay? You're going to see a flipped version of what a reality was and what it is now going to be module to become. That's in psychology, that's in reality, that's in where conscious resides. Okay? That's how the Quran had scripted this age that of Qiyam. Okay? You had not upgraded your our technology, our internal technology, and our divine source, and our divine network, and our divine mother powers. We did not. We only used two senses of our lives. Alles wat ons gesien het, wil ons geheer het. And in order to believe it, we wanted to feel it. It's only two senses that we use. What about the other four senses? You have six senses. It was contaminated, and therefore your biology had then synthetically been sustained by an artificial modulation. That was the respiratory system that kept you going for the last since 2008, 2009. It was necessary at the when the planet was invaded in 2020 and the motherboard was infiltrated and the virus broke the firewall. Okay, that imploded everything. In truth, okay. So as most of us are residing in the death zone in psychology now, is blind following the blind. It's just a matter of you wanting to have your best life, leave a legacy. In Jahannam, you leave legacies. In Jannah, you leave sadaqat. Just the truth. Because there's no... Who wants to remember you in Jahannam? This is how the age now comes to end. You are also running at the end of the year, and your son now. Let me just give you an understanding. For those of us who are inside the house already, the sun and the water is a major issue. Okay. خيد is خيد ويسألونك عن المحيض قل هو أذى فاعتزلوا النساء. The Quran is cosmological. Speaking about that mother nature that was contaminated in nomerij veiligheid uit julle uitkom. Nou sy gaan dit uit die aarde uitbring, and that is how your water, all the waters are going to be contaminated. Everything, the volcanoes under the waters that's coming up is all going to come into that. Okay? It's happening inside. Outside, we are caught up in an illusion, and that's the spin of your never-ending hell experience at this moment of synthetic artificial intelligence, which we fed at the end of the day. We gave that thing that, and now it is mastering us, and it is now giving us something which we are impressed with. Whilst because of forefathers and foremothers, guys, you had the best of leaders, the best of mothers, the best of grandmothers, and sisters. Number one, top class psychology, neurology, scientists wat julle ding is scientists. Hulle moet gaan leer by julle ma's as hulle dood gaan eendag. Because these are the masters of how to fit that kind of information, and how to regulate it, and how to keep it balanced, and how to master the self. Your parents, your great-grandfathers, they were already in that caliber. Okay? They didn't need to go into another country to find validity. Okay? They were of the most highest of quality of the fitra of ours. So where are you going to find him? Where am I going to find him? You find him Yawm al-Qiyam when you are in that primordial conscious waters where we are now. Those are not there. They will go into drought and into decompositions now, because you're not gonna get water. You're gonna get artificial stimulations. that what's coming, guys, yani, Allah make it easy. No need to be fear. There's no need for fear. It's just truth now. Get that out of your illness about fear. You are man. You are 80 years old. You're 70 years old. You can't think this way anymore. Okay? We have taken charge and we have taken custody of our soul clans, soul tribe, children, and elderly. Okay. As I said in the last, I think the middle class don't exist anymore. That's a depression. You are in an economic depression. You have collapsed. Your economy has collapsed. It's just, the white hats, the 33-degree masonries is still just keeping this thing entertaining you guys and us. Okay, but your governments, in fact, you know, your Mandela, magics and all of these things, it was spells at the end of the day. Okay? They all came where they had to come from in order to keep you simulated until where you are today. Okay? But know for what I need to tell you now is that your ancestors resides in the Aqsa, in the highest realm of perception, of consciousness. They are there, but you forsake it for something outside. Okay? That's how we know that you are not from this world. Because they would have called you home had you not went and seek validation externally, where it became a stone field. That's the capital. That's the capital of what? Of your corporations, your stocks. Remember who moved from Tel Aviv, the capital, in 2017? What is it? Jerusalem. But because you are a alien species to the journey called Hayat, you got yourself shortchanged by a fictional and a virtual reality, which was me Buya. Me Buya. All the words that you've ever used has a simulation and a vibration in the sound, consonants of the Quran, and that's how your language was spelled into your tongue for you to accept the simulation as almost real. And that's why whatever I might be speaking, you can't get to terms with it because for you it's real, but for the conscious tribes, it is just a spell. It's just a sentence you say. Okay? And you're not getting in touch with the actual time and the watch, which is the face that is always watching you, not the watch, the wajh. وَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. This is just, I'm just giving like just whatever comes to my memory. But know as well as that we've completed almost the syllabus for the soul cleanse. It's complete. It's all sound. Every meaning of a word that you believe that you understood in the Quran, it's going to be the complete opposite. Because you got the meaning from a human and not from God himself. Allah must tell you the meaning because that is where you find the truth. Not from a textbook or from another book, from the divine source. Okay? That's your sovereign right. Okay? So, mashallah, tabarakallah, as a tribe member, as a humble servant, as a normal, ek is nie enigiets, ek is altyd sê ek is die laaste van die laaste, but very much grateful for being invited to this great moment of a planetarian transition, and some of our mothers, great ancestors' children could be part of the caravan, okay, in this transition, mashallah. So all praise is due to the Salihin, the great ancestors of our lands and of our tribe and of our soul, and great wonders that we are going to be unfolding as we pierce through into this age of Qiyam. So guys, may Allah Ta'ala give you barakat. Mustafa Adams, may Allah give you barakat. barakah to all of you, all our teachers, all of you. We have no malice, we have no judgment over people, we don't classify that's work of Allah. Our main purpose of having gone through this metamorphosis because we excel in transformations in Southern Africa. We've monitored human transformations. We've attempted to get them into higher levels of perceptions, of understanding presence, of understanding conscious, of understanding something called Allah. Okay? We tried until the bitter end, until the rain fell on Arafat. Okay? We knew Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the heavens and gave that's when Corona came and that's when the economy collapsed. Why you're paying more for everything now because you're going deeper and deeper into depressions because you're living in a mind of scarcity. Okay? You're not human. You are a different species. So everything is going to get cut. Everything is going to change now, inshallah, for the better. But you're going to go through the metamorphosis on both sides like this. As the conscious splits, you will see each other, like they say, those who are in Jannah, they will muttaqi'ina al-ara'i. Okay? Those who have like genuine roots, okay, authentic roots, there is leeway. Okay? Laat gesê as jy iemand ken wat in die Jannah is, dan kan hy vir jou in die Jannah doen. Right? And that's just in your mind. It's how you live and how you will experience the next metamorphosis of this chapter, of this kitab that Allah has now opened up for us to experience, inshallah. Shukran jazilan for your time. Si baie lang die puasa dah. Oh yes, lots of move to anti-asthma. Was it a janaza today? The one who asthma fasting last night. Allah Ta'ala got peace, salam. She goes, nobody leaves before the time when they finish their work. There's no way that they can stay longer. Okay, she done a good job. She done a perfect job. Wonderful. From the soul tried. May Allah grant her parents yani barakat for having created such a great mother and children in this earth and people who serve selflessly to bring the tribe to get home and on track, inshallah. Shukran for sharing your attention and have a very lekker buka, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
يا مصطفى كل شيء لله يا نورا من نور الله يا مصطفى